Amidst the burgeoning storm of World War II, President Franklin D. Roosevelt of the USA keenly observes Hitler and Nazi Germany's aggressive invasion across the European defense. As Hitler's nefarious quest for magical artifacts intensifies, the US has yet to step into the theater of war. However, the tides of fate begin to shift when Colonel Steve Trevor approaches President Roosevelt with a bold proposition. Consisting of Colonel Steve Trevor, Black Canary, Hawkman, the Ancient Egyptian, Our Man, Jay Garrick, aka The Flash, led by Wonder Woman, the Justice Society of America is formed. Coming back to the present, Barry Allen and Iris West goes on a picnic in Metropolis, hoping to get away from work. Barry is overly concerned about getting things right, but his impatient speed is a concern for Iris. However, their plans are disrupted by a huge blast coming from the city as Superman is fighting Brainiac. Allen comes to Superman's aid as the Flash. Flash gets electrocuted while trying to release Superman from robots, but he continues to hail a rock at supersonic speed to knock them off and release Superman. Superman tries to go on the offense against Brainiac, but the kryptonite stone in his chest prevents it. When Brainiac fires the kryptonite bullet directly at Superman, Flash tries to catch it, but he runs fast enough to channel the Speed Force for the first time, going back to the Second World War battlefield in France. The Nazi forces are taken back by seeing the suddenly appeared Wonder Woman on the battlefield. She deflects all the bullets shot at her and smashes all the soldiers, even the huge tank simultaneously. Guided by Dr. Fate's voice, Allen arrives in what he believes as the past. During a battle between the Justice Society of America and the Nazis, as soon as he gets thrown on the ground, he is confronted by the Wonder Woman who believes he is with the enemy. She orders Black Canary to keep an eye on him while she flies away to engage in battle. A huge explosion occurs and Flash takes off to help whoever in need, and Black Canary doesn't have any idea where he took off to. A group of Nazi soldiers are getting ready to fire an innocent family, but Flash comes to their rescue. He runs at the speed of light, attacking and dismantling the soldiers. All the heroes gather at that point, and everyone asks questions about the new Flash. Despite initial confusion over his allegiance, Wonder Woman and the crew realizes Allen is an ally after he defeats the Nazis. Then comes Captain Steve Trevor blasting another Nazi plane in the process, and this cheers up the group on the ground. But unfortunately, the smiles are cut off when they see another Nazi airplane open fire on Captain Steve, and soon he's going down in flames. Hawkman takes to the skies to save Captain Steve, but Barry volunteers to run after the plane and save the falling aircraft and the pilot. The old Flash, aka Jay Garrick, also joins him on the way, and surprisingly, they feel tired while running. Barry starts whirlwind spins from his hands, and Jay Garrick also joins in, and the duo is able to land the plane safely and save Captain Steve successfully. Wonder Woman praises Barry for his heroics, and they decide to defend the citizens of France from the invading German forces. As the team mobilizes to stop a second wave of Nazis, Allen takes Trevor back to the Justice League America's base, and on the way, Captain Steve fills in the Flash about what is going on in the world. The Justice Society attacks the remaining Nazi troops in the French cities, and Wonder Woman shows no mercy. So is the Black Canary, the Flash, and the Our Man. They work as a team and defeat the enemy, and the Nazis have no choice but to surrender at last. The team meets up at the base, and after meeting Shakespeare, the Society's war correspondent, Barry gets the feeling that he knows him from somewhere. But out of the blue, Captain Steve Trevor proposes to the Wonder Woman, which she rejects eventually. And after that, learning this is a daily occurrence, it's all too much for Barry Allen to digest. The Justice League Society meets at their headquarters to discuss their next step and missions ahead. Despite the risk of causing a time paradox, the heroes realize they need Allen's help in saving a codebreaker from a Nazi fortress who can decode a message which Captain Steve Trevor stole. Justice Society of America travels to the secret Nazi fortress deep in the jungle. Arriving at the fortress, Wonder Woman goes ballistic on the Nazis, and the new Flash, aka the Future Kid, defends her. Wonder Woman soon receives a Morse code message from Steve, and the duo takes off to meet the group. Meanwhile, the Our Man and Old Flash is taking some heat from the Nazis. They discuss whether to attack or to defend against the Nazis, but then throws caution to the wind and takes the soldiers one after the other. Meanwhile, Black Canary and Hawkman are digging through the fortress dungeons, and Black Canary is feeling rather out of sorts. Hawkman tries talking to her, but it seems like there's no point at the moment. Suddenly, they hear a scream through a locked dungeon door. Working through the fortress alone, Shakespeare breaks in and discovers several prisoners in the dungeons already dead. Shakespeare rescues a prisoner who says someone told him of his arrival and implores him to prevent something from happening. A guard attacks Shakespeare only for the bullets to bounce off of him. When Wonder Woman, Alan, and Trevor arrive, they are amazed to find Shakespeare unharmed with bullets on the ground. Scene shifts to the place where Black Canary and Hawkman trying to break the dungeon door open, and they are joined by Old Flash and Hourman. They break in and discover a tortured man on a chair, and soon Hawkman recognizes him from a previous life named as Dr. Fate, who is now the Codebreaker. They present him with their secret code, and soon, starting with his eyes, everything illuminates with bright yellow beams. Everyone's trying to figure out the truth about Shakespeare, and that's when New Flash recognizes him as Superman. However, Superman, we all know, is an alien being from the planet Krypton, but this Clark Kent is different, and once again, it's all too much for Barry Allen, but soon he realizes he is actually in a parallel reality. The team is witnessing pure magic from the Codebreaker, breaking the code with his powers. Fate directs the team to the Bermuda Triangle and depicts the longitude and latitude coordinates for them. The New Flash, Barry Allen, walks in and identifies Dr. Fate as well. When Barry asks how to return to his own universe, the Codebreaker addresses him. It is only after he completes his task in this world he will be able to return to his world. Suddenly, the Codebreaker disappears out into the thin air. The group gathers to rethink their strategy. Wonder Woman says Shakespeare is no longer with them, and they aim to travel to the mythical Bermuda Triangle. Captain Steve is able to get a submarine for their journey. Arriving at the Triangle by sub, the team is detected by Nazi warships. The warships drop depth charges to be exploded on the submarine, and the Nazis' plan succeeds. The engine room is flooding, and Barry goes with the tools and makes instant repairs. Just pure speed. Unfortunately, the depth chargers have disabled the engines. The two Flashes jumpstart the submarine with their self-made electricity, while Wonder Woman heads out to destroy the enemy ships by torpedoing herself into the sea. While the submarine crew is amazed at what's happening, Wonder Woman gets hold of the depth chargers and shoots them back to the ships above, and they do the damage. Just splendid work by the Amazonian princess. Wonder Woman's efforts are not enough, unfortunately, as the ships have dropped way too many depth chargers and they are descending towards the submarine now. In comes two mermaid soldiers belonging to the lost Kingdom of Atlantis, and they shoot the depth chargers with their high-tech laser guns and save them from the barrage. The Atlantean soldiers then direct them to a nearby outpost. Getting out of their submarine, the Justice Society of America is met by the advisor of the king. They follow the advisor deep into the tunnels of the kingdom, and the team meets Aquaman, the ruler of 7 seas, the king of Atlantis. But what occurs following their meeting is quite surprising, as the king tricks the group and imprisons them. It is revealed that the code they acquired was a Nazi trap, and Aquaman is being controlled by the advisor, who is influencing the Atlanteans to work with the Nazis in the hopes of destroying them later so he can take over the planet. After the two Flashes realize they are becoming weaker while they are together, they join forces to regain their strength and break out. The New Flash goes through the barrier and appears in a control room, where he knocks down all the guards to come and release the group from the barrier. The team splits up, with one heading for New York to stop the Nazis and Atlanteans, while Barry Allen and Wonder Woman try to stop Aquaman and the advisor from releasing monsters from the trench. The Old Flash comes and rescues the sailors in their submarine from the Atlantean guards, and they sail to New York to stop the Atlantean attack. Meanwhile, Barry Allen comes out of nowhere and throws a heavy punch at Aquaman, and he goes hard at him. Wonder Woman deals with the advisor. Although the advisor tries to take the Amazonian princess under his spell, he is not able to. Finally, Aquaman is confronted by the Wonder Woman. You have to fight fire with fire. There's no way of going past it. The duo battles it out underwater, and it is quite the sight to witness a battle of such might and greatness. But it's happening underwater. The King of 7 Seas emerges victorious after trapping Wonder Woman under a pile of rocks. The Golden Gates open, and both Aquaman and King's advisors is taken with 2 tentacles, and a huge sea creature swims away. At the peaceful New York harbor, Atlantean soldiers along with their tanks emerge from the seabed, scaring away the civilians. As they march forward and attack Manhattan, they are confronted by the Justice Society. Black Canary, alongside Hawkman, Old Flash, and Hourman, take the attack to the invaders, and soon they are strengthened by the arrival of Captain Steve Trevor, who takes control of an Atlantean tank and opens fire at the Atlantic forces. The heroes gain the upper hand, and the first wave of the Sea Dwellers retreat, but you just know it, here comes trouble, people. The trench monsters arrive with the King of Seven Seas, Aquaman, riding a Godzilla-like creature reaching for the shores of Manhattan. The Justice Society is concerned about the civilians, and they meet up and discuss a plan. Black Canary just takes on the Godzilla-like creature by herself, but it proves to be a bit too much, as even her sonic booms does nothing to it. After evading blow after blow, finally, she is struck hard and goes on to a freefall. But Hawkman comes to her rescue. While on their way down, Hawkman is attacked and deadly wounded by another sea creature, but he catches the Black Canary and makes sure she is not injured after their fall. Hawkman dies on Black Canary's hands and promises that he will come back in his next life. Garrick, the Old Flash, takes out some of the soldiers, but soon he is hunted by a humongous crab creature who actually runs at a lightning speed, surprisingly. Hourman gets into the game and takes down soldiers one after the other, but he is surrounded by the Atlantean forces and gets shot when he refused to surrender. Captain Steve comes to the rescue, but it seems a bit too little too late for Hourman. The submarine emerges beneath the Godzilla sea monster, and in comes Wonder Woman. With a monstrous punch, she sends Aquaman hailing down into the city buildings, and the King's advisor is dumbstruck. They battle it out on the solid ground this time, and it's evenly matched now. Wonder Woman uses all her might and tosses the King around, delivering punch after punch, but the King defends them nicely. It appears to be a hairline difference between the two, but that hairline is the trident of the King, as he uses it to its fullest potential. Black Canary chases the monster who killed Hawkman. She takes off her mask, and while tears roll down her eyes, she calls the monster to battle her. The monster charges at Canary, but her sonic boom is too much. It rips the skin and shreds the creature to its bones, and Canary passes out as well. Gary, the Old Flash, uses the situation to his advantage and runs through Atlantic forces, and the Flash crab creature crushes all the soldiers. He turns back and runs towards it, throwing a couple of bombs in his mouth, and the creature explodes. It's not over with the two royal fighters, as Wonder Woman refuses to budge to Aquaman. The King of Seven Seas attacks again, and this time, Wonder Woman falls to her knees, but her lover comes to the rescue. Captain Steve Trevor announces himself, firing with a submachine gun at the Aquaman. Wonder Woman has had enough, and she somehow breaks the trident in half, and the impact sends both the King and Wonder Woman flying away. As a result, Aquaman loses his spell that was put on him by his advisor, and he takes off with the huge Godzilla monster into the deep sea. The King's advisor then arrived and pierced the chest of Captain Steve with the broken trident, shows him the arriving air fleet of Hitler's Nazi Air Force. The future Kid Flash comes running onto the advisor, knocking him out, and soon all the heroes assemble on the harbor looking at the skies, not knowing what to do against the air fleet. Just when all hope is lost, arrives Shakespeare, Clark Kent, aka Superman. Flash is oozing with happiness as Superman jumps from one plant to another, destroying the whole air fleet within minutes. Wonder Woman then only notices her lover, Captain Steve, on the ground, waiting for her. With his last few breaths, he proposes to the Amazon princess, and she accepts. The hero passes away, but his legend will live forever. All of them are thankful to the future kid for helping them defeat the Nazi and the Atlantean forces. Gary and Barry work together to create the perfect paradox for Barry to escape, and as soon as he arrives in his own world, he has to engage in another battle. This time, Flash takes the kryptonite bullet and throws it at Brainiac's own head, killing him in the process. Superman is thankful and quite amazed at the same time, to be honest. They agree to form a League of Heroes, perhaps a certain Justice League, to combine and help the world. Barry Allen rejoins his date, Miss Iris West, and tells her the whole story. Afterwards, remembering Wonder Woman's words, he proposes to his beloved Iris West. In memory of all the fallen heroes, they celebrate their love. Thank you for watching Second Look. Like, comment, share, and subscribe for more awesome videos. Have a nice day.